created a post the other day about Nesara Gesara over on Webtalk. You can read this post. I'm going to put the link in the description, but there's the link. And in it, I talk about having my credit card zeroed out. There's the image for the post I did, so you can't miss it. And the reason for this video is one of the replies, the comments I got, was Shirley asking me to do a video about what Nesara Gesara is. So this is Nesara Gesara over on Webtalk. So I've wrote a PDF and I'm just going to go through it. You'll have to excuse any grammar or spelling mistakes. It's not my forte. And the first question is, what does Nesara Gesara actually mean? So the short answer is the national, which is Nesara, global, which is Gesara, Economic Security and Reform Act. Now, I've spoke about Nesara Gesara before, and I realise not a lot of people have heard of it. I've jumped to my usual conclusions and thought because I've heard of it, other people have, and that isn't the case. So here's a basic explanation on how it came about, and it's taken from my understanding. And the first thing is a picture of a farmer, because it was started by farmers getting together as they were getting fed up with the government taking advantage of them. So they incorporated a section of the 14th Amendment in the Constitution. Now this is the American constitutional law, but this affects the whole world. And I may have some of this information incorrect, but to my knowledge it's correct. I've not actually read the Constitution myself, but it's on my list of to-dos, and I would recommend everyone else does read it as well. I don't have a link for it. You're going to have to go out and find that link. If I find it, I may post it. So Nesara is national for the United States of America, and Gesara is global, obviously for the rest of the world. Now I could be wrong here, but I believe countries had to sign into this, and as far as I'm aware, all countries did, or at least most of them. I've heard the UK did. Let's hope this is so. And I do believe it's so because of what I'm going to reveal. So Nesara is a groundbreaking reformation to sweep not only the United States of America but all countries in history. I'll put a picture of American dollars there because the act does away with the Federal Reserve Bank, the IRS and the shadow government and much more. So Nesara implements the following changes, and I presume this is the same for Gesara as well. I've taken this information off the internet and believe it to be correct. So first off, it zeroes out all credit card, mortgage and other bank debt due to illegal banking and government activities. This is the Federal Reserve worst nightmare, a jubilee or a forgiveness of debt. Now I believe this is why my credit card got zeroed out, and as you can tell I'm in the UK, but I have heard of many stories in other countries as well. It abolishes income tax, abolishes the IRS. Employees of the IRS will be transferred into the US Treasury National Sales Tax area. Now, I'll hold my hands up. I don't understand some of these things. Over in the UK, we don't have the IRS, but it's probably similar to income tax, maybe, or our taxes. It creates a 14% flat rate on non-essential new items, only sales tax revenue for the government. In other words, food and medicines will not be taxed, nor will used items such as old homes. Now, this has probably not been on mainstream media, but if you follow President Trump and different people in America, you will realise that Mr. Trump has been reducing prices on the medicines, medical treatment, to cut out the middleman. And one story I did hear was in America, an EpiPen costs $500. A lady went out to get her medicines and was only charged $3.95. That's just one story I've heard so far, but it is a fact. He is reducing the cost of medicines, taking out the middleman. Not something you're going to hear on your mainstream news at the moment. Now we've got the elderly. It increases benefits to senior citizens, and about time. They've worked their asses off all their lives. The governments, and I presume this is in all countries, have been pushing the age of retirement up and up and up. I think it's, I don't know, I'm sure I heard something the other day. For a female in the UK, it's 73 now. I could be wrong on that. But they've worked all their life and they are due these increased benefits. Returns to constitutional law to all courts and legal matters. It reinstates the original title of Nobility Amendment. Then we've got establishes new presidential and congressional elections within 120 days after Nesara's announcement. The interim government will cancel all national emergencies and return us back to constitutional law. Now, I do not know how true this is, but from what I'm hearing, the 120 days began on the 2nd of November, which will take us through to the 3rd of March 2021. Like I say, I don't know how accurate this is. It's what I've been hearing. And at the moment, President Trump is really very quiet. He's only doing the odd little thing. And also I'm hearing the truth of what is going on right now, whether you believe things are real or not. I don't want this video taken down, but it is the thing that stopped all countries from functioning. It is very complicated what's going on, and I've heard that you'll start hearing the truth of what's really been going on come March next year. Now, whether that's tied into Nesara Gesara, I don't know. And then we have polling stations. I don't know if they're called polling stations in America, but in the UK we call them polling stations. It monitors elections and prevents illegal election activity of special interest groups. You know, look at what's going on in America with the elections. If Nesara and Gesara was already fully in, none of that would have been going on. Then we have it creates a new US Treasury rainbow currency backed by gold and silver and platinum precious metals, ending the bankruptcy of the United States initiated by Franklin Roosevelt in 1933. And I am hearing people are buying gold and silver because of that reason. It forbids the sale of American birth certificate records as chattel, I don't know how to pronounce that, property bonds by the US Department of Transportation. I've also heard that the UK birth certificates get traded and people are making money off them. I've never looked into that in detail, but it's on my list. It initiates new US Treasury banking system in alignment with the constitutional law. And I keep hearing about a new quantum financial system. So I'm presuming this is to do with the quantum financial system. It eliminates the Federal Reserve System, which is needed because that's where your illegal debts are coming from. During the transition period, the Federal Reserve will be allowed to operate side by side of the US Treasury for 1 year in order to remove all Federal Reserve notes from the money supply. I do not know how this will affect us in the UK, but considering most of our main big banks are part of the Federal Reserve, we're gonna see these changes as well. It restores financial privacy. About time. It also retrains all judges and attorneys in constitutional law. I do believe that's also going on in the UK. There's a lot of people talking about constitutional law, common law, and the Magna Carta over here in the UK. I'm presuming that is something to do with this. Could be wrong. It ceases all aggressive US government military actions worldwide. It establishes peace throughout the world, and I've put a little picture of a dove there. It releases enormous sums of money for humanitarian purposes, and I did speak about in a post a while back, I believe we're going into a more of a humanitarian age, and I did ask people what type of humanitarian things do they want to do, and it was quite interesting the different things people have been planning on doing, the dreams they may be able to start achieving. It enables the release of over 6,000 patents of suppressed technologies that are being withheld from the public under the guise of national security, including free energy devices, anti-gravity and sonic healing machines. Now I do know, and I've got a link to it, something I'm going to print out if I'm able to, and that is the Tesla stuff has been declassified and is now there for people to read, and I believe it covers things like anti-gravity, possible time travel, different things like that, and obviously these free energy devices, because that is Tesla. Okay, I'm hearing a number of things that have been happening, which I'll list here. How much of it is true, I don't 100% know. We're switching over to the new quantum financial system, eventually getting rid of the Federal Reserve. Now, I do know there is a website now to do with this quantum financial system. I've actually been on the website, I've not studied it, but it'd be interesting for people to look at. I believe the debt forgiveness is true, as I've heard so many people having debt zeroed out, including my own personal experience. Now, I don't know if I covered this in the post, but my debt was for around 2,000, just over 2,400. Been paying it for years, all the illegal interest on there, and suddenly it's zeroed out. So I do believe this debt forgiveness is real, and that is exactly what happened to me, which is the Gesara. And then we've got President Trump has been doing peace agreements, something you probably haven't heard of because it won't be on your mainstream news. If you want the real news, you're not going to get it at the minute off the mainstream news. I've also heard, and I spoke about this a second ago, about Tesla energy is going to be used, which is your free energy. I've seen a number of Tesla towers popping up. Now, granted, I've watched them through videos of people showing these Tesla towers and speaking to people in the area who've confirmed they are Tesla towers. And as I spoke of, the Tesla documents have been declassified. There are a lot more changes happening around the world, again, not covered on mainstream media. The information is becoming more public and out there for people to see. Things are happening, and we have a promising future ahead of us once we win this battle of good versus evil. Now, that might sound extreme to people, but it is my belief, good versus evil. I do believe good is winning, even though it doesn't feel like it at the moment. The more the good is winning, the harder the evil is fighting. But we are winning. And I, for one, welcome the Nesara Gesara, because to me, most of that what I've just read out there, including my own thoughts on it, how the changes are going to happen for us to live in a peaceful world, etc., is all to do with the Nesara Gesara. And I hope that answers Shirley's question. I'm not 100% up on it. I'm still exploring it. But I do believe once we get through all this shit, we've got a great future ahead of us.